Hey guys,
Hey
it's
guys.
Joe with VMP.
I thought I was leading. Get
Oh
out of here.
man, get out of here.
Go ahead, Joe.
This is Tuning Tuesday, episode 12. It's Alex and Joe. We're gonna try and keep today's Tuning Tuesday short and sweet. We got a lot of R&D projects going on right now with the new Gen 3 TVS. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please like and share. We'll get to all the questions that we can live during today's show. Any questions that we can't get to during the show, I'll follow up with on either the YouTube page or the Facebook page and just reply to the comments on there.
And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want us to be more engaging and make this a popular thing so we can have it on weekly, keep the demand up. Like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. So we're busy testing Gen 3. That's pretty much what this week is all about. We're just kind of hammering away on all platforms. No numbers. You will not get numbers from us. You will not get pricing from us. You will not get numbers from Cobra from us. You will not get any of that from us.
Or release dates.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna basically, this is straight up tuning show. We're just in the midst of all this testing, and we're just gonna keep it short and sweet so that we can get right back to it, because we're gonna be here late into the night just hammering away on tunes and everything. So it's an exciting time. Everything looks promising. We got throttle body stuff to test. We got blowers to test fit, all that stuff. So we're cranking away. So it's been a busy week. Nothing really has happened in the last couple of days in terms of news from Ford or anything. We hear rumblings from people in the industry about the supercharger design for the GT500 from certain people that we know, intercooler and all that stuff, but we don't have any specifics to give out yet. So you know what we know. It's all speculation right now as to what it's going to be, what it's going to make. But as of now, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, hammer away.
And while we wait for a couple questions, we had some skepticism on whether or not we did 2 back-to-back passes and ran the times that we did. So if you want to cue the other camera, I have both time slips. Here's one. I'm going to slowly scroll up so you guys can see the time and whatnot. Notice that's 3:51, I believe.
Back up a little bit.
Back
Joe.
it up right there.
Right around there. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can lower it down. And right there, you should be able to see the timestamp actually when it actually happened.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
what
then
time does it say on that one right there? If you could
I
look.
think that one's 11:64.
And what's time? 3:50.
3:51.
3:51.
And
then
then
It's out of focus.
That's okay.
oh, that's fine.
That'll be fine.
Right there.
There we go.
A little
Come
bit.
a
right
little
there.
further. There we go.
Okay.
11:64.
Yep, and this one's at 3:48, and this one is the 11:655.
So it's done within 3 minutes of each other. So
Yep.
by the time you get up there, do a burnout, run the time, come back, and then stage again, do a burnout, 3 minutes back to back, and it actually went quicker the second pass, right?
Yeah, it went quicker the second pass by about one and a half hundredths.
So 11:64 and 11:65, then it went 11:64, and it went 1:22 on the second pass as
And
opposed
121.
to 121.7.
Yep.
So that was a back-to-back pass on the 2018 Mustang, a true, real deal. We have timestamps, proof. There's people out there that don't believe it because, editing reasons, right?
Yeah, because the cloud was in a different position. Yeah, because it's 3 minutes and it was
What the
really
hell
windy.
Is he, a freaking Christopher Columbus? You're looking up at the sky and going, oh yeah, this is it happened at a different time of night or different day. Get out of here.
But in other news, I'm sure we have a few questions at least rolling in. Do you want to hit YouTube first or Facebook first?
You do, but before I hit the questions, I just wanted to let you know, Matt Simpson is saying, is that a ball sack around your neck?
Actually,
Put those back in the glove box.
it's not a ball sack. It is a
It is?
it's a genuine kangaroo scrotum.
Yeah.
And it actually shows you on the little souvenir thing where it's located on the kangaroo. So I don't know if you want to... Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in that good?
Is he enhancing?
He's trying to enhance. But yeah, basically Matt Coates came up from Australia, from MFP Australia guy. He came up and kind of doing, get a run of the place, kind of understand Florida. He's going to do the whole tour. He's going to go down south and everything. But he was up at VMP and he got me some kangaroo balls as a present. So can you zoom in? He's trying to get it up right. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, these are kangaroo balls. They're fuzzy. I thought it was a rabbit's foot, but I'm like, that's a hell of a foot.
It's more like a rabbit camel toe.
So yeah, I got some kangaroo balls around my neck. So there you go.
All right.
So back to the series.
In other news,
Matt says nice, LOL. So let's go ahead and hit YouTube real quick. So Tony says, do long tube headers on a Pro Charge 14 GT need to have a tune if already running a custom tune?
We answered that last week.
Yeah, in short, no. It's a good idea to have an update done for it though.
Right. Update just because of the O2s were moved down a little bit, but it's not necessary to have it done to ever perform any better.
Jeremy says, should I wait to get the Gen 3 if I am thinking about getting a Stage 3 kit for a 1650?
That is entirely up to you. The Stage 3 Gen 2 R supercharger is still more than enough to get you in the bottom 9s, high 8s when the rest of the configuration is set up properly. Gen 3 is just going to compound those gains. So
We're not going to tell you to wait. I'm going to tell you your stock bottom end is Gen 2R is more than enough for the stock bottom end. But if you really want to party in the future, Gen 3 is an option.
Bob says, do you think Alex will let me crash on his couch while you guys put a blower on? I live in Panama City and will have no money for a motel room. Thanks.
I don't have a couch.
no.
So I have to be the big spoon if we do cuddle in my bed.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
no, you will not go anywhere near my house. But if you look, there's plenty of cheap hotels in the area. You want to come down, get a blower put in, go to Disney, do your thing.
You can sleep in the woods.
Sleep in the
That's
woods.
an option too.
Yeah, there's bear here, dude. There's bear.
Oh, you're fine.
That's all
At
good.
least it's not all the deadly snakes from Australia.
Yeah, and the 8-foot tall kangaroos that weigh 500 pounds.
Yeah, you gotta watch out
What
for
the
those.
hell? I heard that. It's like 500 pound, 8-foot tall kangaroos
8-foot
that are
tall.
jacked. What do they call the big reds or something like that?
Yeah.
Like the gum.
Yep. And Dan?
Chris says, I have a data log, a watt. On the VMP website, it says I should be in 3rd or 4th gear. Should I floor it at 1500 or do I get the RPM up a little more so I don't bog the engine? It's a 2013 VMP Stage 1.
Flooring it at 1500 shouldn't hurt it, but if you feel more comfortable starting at a higher RPM, feel free. If we see something in the data that tells us we need to see it at a lower starting RPM, we'll let you know and just have you redo it.
The reason we do that is if you do an idle slow rev, and for guys that are amateur data log readers, on an idle slow rev you get to about 4 hertz. On a frequency based, you get to about 4 hertz. On wide open, we get the 5 and up. You know, the rest of the curve. So that's why we want to sample it. Whichever way you get there, whether it be, as long as you don't start to pull at 7,000 and then go 7,500, that doesn't serve us any purpose. We want a nice long sweep at wide open throttle so that we can get the rest of the MAF curve after the idle slow rev so we can adjust fueling if necessary.
Nick says, does the 15 Plus truck Coyote sound more like a 4.6 since it has the 4.6 firing order?
That's something you would answer because
I don't think it sounds anything like a 4.6.
it sounds like a Coyote to me.
Yeah.
It even idles that,
La,
but
la, la, la,
yeah,
la, la.
it doesn't sound like a 4.6 to me. I mean, there's a couple of 4.6s here, like the Lightning and stuff, but that has cams and stuff, so you can't really tell. But no, as far as he would know best, but it sounds similar to Coyote.
No, it doesn't sound like a 4.6. That's like saying a 4.62 valve and a 4.64 valve sound the same because they're on the same firing order.
Right.
They don't. They sound completely
What's
different.
wrong with you?
Right?
Dorian says, Joe, what do you plan to do about headers and exhaust on your truck?
Either Cooks or Stainless Works.
Cody says, any update on the Auto Hellcat driver mod?
It's still in production.
Yeah, exactly.
Ongoing process.
I already.
They're still mad about that, dude. They're still mad.
They just hate us because they ain't us.
Gary says, when running E85 naturally aspirated, do I need to change my plugs and or gaps? Thanks for taking the time to answer questions like this.
Naturally aspirated on a basic setup, you don't have to worry about changing plugs or changing
Stop
gap.
plug, stop gap. Just
Yeah,
try
if
it
you're
out.
90,000 miles on stock plugs, certainly pull them out, put some fresh plugs in, but nothing, you shouldn't have to put anything different in there.
Slowpoke says, I have a 13 Mustang with a Stage 2 Roush. What is the lowest pulley I can run on 93 octane? It is stock with just supercharged, no other mods.
79.
Boom. Right to the point.
God, you guys are fast today.
Yeah, we got it. Come on,
This
we got
is-
it.
We got
Testing
R&D to do.
We got
We're trying to
R&D
keep this under 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Bam.
This is pretty amazing.
If we run out of
Usually-
questions, that's okay. We'll just banter back and forth.
Usually I'm telling you, wrap it up.
77.
Andrew says, what all vehicles are currently being tested on the Gen 3?
Truck, Mustang, GT500, and Mustang.
Yep. So Coyote, GT500, actually all versions of GT500 and all versions of Coyote,
Yep.
for lack of a better word.
Yep.
Let's see what else I have here. Stan says,
Darsh, Stan Darsh.
Darsh.
he says, not saying I'm Michael Shoemaker, but at times when I'm doing some spirited driving, third won't engage. Normal driving, it's fine. It's a 13 GT 6-speed, 32K miles, second owner. What could be the problem? Thanks.
Either clutch isn't disengaging all the way, or you have a synchro or blocker ring issue.
What?
third
I
gear.
didn't understand the question. I guess I didn't hear it.
He has trouble getting it in a third sometimes.
If it's in the middle of a skid, as my friends down under call it, everything's not aligned properly, so you're gonna have trouble getting it into gear. But if it's like straight line, anything over 7,000 RPMs, your clutch is gonna lock you out. Period. Your stock clutch is the weak link and will cause issues if you try to force it in gear. If it doesn't go right in gear, it's not disengaging properly.
If you hear audible grinding, you either have a synchro, blocker ring, or gear face issue on the alignment. Yep.
Eduardo says, is the 5.4 off a 08 Shelby same as any other 5.4 off an F-150 per se?
No.
Even the short block, right? Because the crank's different, rods are different.
The 5.4 out of an 07 to 09 Shelby, the block is the only thing that's similar.
Okay.
The crank, it depends on the truck model, because some trucks have a 8-bolt nodular crank and some have an 8-bolt forged crank.
Okay.
But the rods and pistons are different and the heads are significantly different.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me 1 second, y'all.
No problem.
Questions are starting to come in, and I need to grab them before they disappear on me.
Grab them.
Just
Yeah, it is
go to
weird, the format. I'm sorry to interrupt. The format is weird. Like, when I actually logged into the burnout box, and it was weird. Like, when you ask a question, it sort of kind of doesn't follow the way you think it would in terms of lineage. So I understand Carrie having to grab them, copy, paste them, and put them off to the side. So you understand it. If you hear anything in the background, she's just grabbing the question, putting it on a separate screen so she can read them later, so you don't feel ignored.
That's exactly it. So let's go here to YouTube real quick. I have Melvin says, greetings from Puerto Rico. Best bang for the buck. Headers or converter for bolt-on 12 GT.
Converter.
Yeah. Like and share, guys.
Like and share, subscribe.
Yep. Right meow.
Einar, I'm guessing EINAR.
No. What's his question?
I'd like to say big thank you to VMP for being so willing to share knowledge with the public. I am sure this will both gain VMP even more respect and customers in the future.
Very good.
That's the goal.
And Tony says, a build for a 15 F-150 Coyote, including a future VMP 2650. At what point, numbers-wise, would I consider rods, pistons, and oil pump gears?
At any point that you start feeling uncomfortable.
Yep. Which is right at around the 600 something.
I'd say
650 and up?
Yeah. If you're on a race gas or E85, anything over 700, it's definitely something to consider.
Treat it the same as 11 to 14 Coyote, I would say, in terms of rods and pistons.
And then the 600 should be relatively safe depending on your fuel quality and the pulley size. If you're trying to do like a 72 on 93, you might have a bad time.
Yeah.
I don't know what forum or whatever's talking about the 75 on pump gas.
That's
The only time that's acceptable is with an inlet restriction or at elevation.
right. With an
Don't do that on 93.
Right, and with a cold air of anything above 120 millimeter.
Or like a phase 1 Roush setup from 2011 on like an automatic car where it has the closed air box setup.
Right, so you're not going to see as much air coming in, so you can get away with a smaller pulley.
You'll pick up torque, but you won't pick up horsepower because of the inlet restriction, or you'll pick up like 20 pound-feet and like 5 horsepower.
Right.
And then?
Next one.
Chris says, he was kidding. He's like, find me on Homeland Season 7. Seriously, though, find me.
Claire Danes, looking good. Your brother up. Because she's watching, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. No comments.
What are we at so far time-wise, kids?
Oh, we're keeping a tally. We got
Yeah,
so
we're
many
keeping-
tunes
Patrick
to
says,
do.
Patrick says 09 GT500 Gen 2, 2.4 upper. Do I need a retune if I do the lower?
Good idea to have it looked at.
Get with your tuner.
Yeah, whoever's tuning your car, just have him look at logs, and then we'll see if it needs any adjustment to spark and fueling.
Yep.
Israel says, I live in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need a Gen 3 sponsor since the Mustang is now sold in Europe?
We do not need a Gen 3 sponsor, but we will be selling them soon, so
Yep.
feel free to pick one up.
They'll be on the website soon
Yep.
enough.
Lance says, so when are we going to do an 1850 VMP supercharged?
When will you guys hear about it? Probably a while. We're gonna be doing it though.
And that question that you just asked about, that you said get with your tuner?
Mm-hmm.
Alex is his tuner.
Okay.
Send me logs, buddy.
Yeah.
Then we'll party.
We
As long as you're not.
we tune
on-
a lot of people, so
Yeah.
we can't really speak to your specific case. Get with Alex, send him an email, ask him to review your previous data logs, and just see if there's enough room left on the table for a 10% or a 15%.
You understand why we say that? If we say yes or no, and you're not tuned by us, and then you go to your tuner and say, "Well, Alex and Joe's," we don't want that game. We don't play that game. We're just
Yeah.
get with your tuner, see what he's comfortable with. We know what we're comfortable with. Send us logs, and I'll make adjustments if necessary.
And with general questions, we can give you a specific answer, but in something that can be case by case, just based on like whether your cold air is big enough or whether you're almost out of injector, stuff like that. Stuff you really need to have been looking at data logs of recently and kind of have that in your mind when you're thinking about more airflow.
Austin says, currently in Germany with my 13 GT, but plan on dropping my car off with us when I get back to the States for a TVS. Typically, what is the turnaround time for a blower install? Let's assume the stage 2 kit. Within
Comfortably 2 days. If you really need it in a tight timeline, we might be able to get it done in 1 day if you don't need a dyno tune and you just want to go with the plug-in tune.
Patrick came back and said he completely understands about the
Oh,
get
no.
with your tuner.
Oh,
So
yeah,
Yeah.
they get it.
it's
Okay.
all good.
Just clarifying for everyone
For
else.
everyone else, yeah, exactly.
Yep. Melvin says, following on your answer, do I need a trans brake and a two-step for a Circle D 245 millimeter Pro Series converter to work on my bolt-on 12 GT?
You don't need any of that stuff to get it to work. If you want it to be super consistent, stuff like that might be a good idea, but I wouldn't say that's anywhere near necessary on a naturally aspirated combo.
Definitely not necessary. A lot of people like, hey, oh,
There
Joe,
goes my
you're
phone.
right there goes
I think
that.
my balls fell.
That's why I got mine on a little sling.
Exactly.
If you want a trans brake for launching or consistency, yeah, he's right. And reaction time. But to get it to work, it's not necessary. He's right.
Steve says, after a tune, there's now a bit of a backfire and popping on an 11 GT500. I assume that's all normal and rich is better than lean. Is that something that should be further tuned?
Get with your tuner. There's stuff that can be tweaked for that, like decel spark, fueling when it goes into decel, dash pot, stuff like that. So another thing where if you don't like it, get with your tuner, but based on your brief description of it, it shouldn't hurt anything.
Brian says, now with the Gen 3 coming out for the GT500, I am running a 07 GT500 with our Gen 2R and E85. He was at 721 rear wheel before changing to Whipple monoblade and 128 millimeter JLT with a 15% lower. So he's hoping for 750-ish if he gets the Gen 3. Is the bottom end going to hold up to add horsepower, to the added horsepower?
As long as your octane's good, it should be fine.
Also, you might need an adapter to get that throttle body to fit.
Yeah,
Gen
if
3?
he wants to run the Ford Racing Mono on Gen 3, you'd need an adapter plate.
But the tune shouldn't change all that much.
No, more so mechanical advantage of making sure that load and spark are scaled properly for the increased airflow.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And making sure that, because they don't make a 128 JLT, so I assume you either have the 123.
Right.
The 123 may not support the airflow of Gen 3 depending on what your, sorry, burped.
Taco Bell burps.
Yeah, what your, what pulley size you're going with. You may max out the available range on the mass airflow sensor
Oh, because
with
it's,
the
it's
123.
voltage based on those.
Yeah, and
Got
you'll
it.
be like 4.8, 4.9 volts on a low boost setup on Gen 3.
Oh, okay.
So you may have to go to like a JLT 148 or PMOS 149.
Got it. Just to not to peg the math.
Yep.
Matt says, what causes car to die when at interstate speed on windy day, GT500 with Gen 1 VMP and cold air intake? Only does it when, I guess, coasting at speed.
See, the car wouldn't die coasting. Something tells me you're clutching in at like 75, right? That's the only thing I could think of that it would stall
Yeah,
with
because
that.
if your clutch is engaged, it's going to keep it above 1,000 RPM, so you physically can't stall
It's
if you're
impossible,
above
right?
1,000
So
RPM.
you're clutching in at 70 mile an hour. I'm not going to tell you how to drive your car, but I mean, why are you clutching in at 70 mile an hour? Typically, have you data logged the vehicle? Have you gotten with your tuner in terms of just making sure everything looks good? There are quick fixes to something like that we can play with. If we're tuning the vehicle, same answer as before, mimic the condition and we can see what the car's doing. And anytime you have an issue, anyone out there, if you have an issue, send that issue pronounced like in a data log, and we can then see what's going on and fix it and just get a good description of it. Because a lot of people say, my car's not acting right, and then they send us a data log of a 40-minute cruise through like New York. I'm like, I don't even look at that log. I just go tell,
Isolated conditions.
Pinpoint where it's happening, and then we'll take a look.
Slowpoke says, will I have to upgrade injectors or have BAP with 79 millimeter plus will it survive daily?
It should be fine in the 79 with good fuel.
Justin says, what's the purpose of running colder spark plugs after switching to E85 and can you explain why it's necessary? Thanks, buddies. It's
Buddies.
Justin Stevens.
Boy, he's way into it. He
Yeah.
needs to stop. I love him. I love him. You're a good guy, Justin. Man, just put a stage 2 on an E85 and trust us when we tell you, put this spark plug in with this fuel and it's going to make this number. But if you want to get into the explanation of the whole deal, because you're just going to potentially open doors you don't want to.
Well, I'm looking at keeping it short today. That can be a very long conversation because a lot of that is speculation based, some of it's fact based. So email me or message me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do something, but we'll for another day.
Yeah,
He knows how to reach you.
Yeah.
Dwayne says, what is the most horsepower you know a blower? I'm trying to read this. Hold
It's all
on.
good. It's
What
all
is the
good.
most horsepower you know a blower only Gen 2R on 5.4 to 5.8s?
High 9. Oh, 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yep.
Billy Pro Shop's made 1,000.
Yep.
Our
And
Gen
then Grant on a really basic setup was like
940, 950.
940, 960, somewhere in that range. I'd have to go back and look at the run files.
But we've seen blower only max effort vehicles make over 1,000. No
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Just need a little bit more compression.
That's it. Some good cams and party.
Yeah, and Grant's car, still low compression.
Is it?
Yeah, I
Excellent.
actually think it's a little bit lower than stock. I think he's 8.5 to 1 instead of like the 9.2.
That'll work.
Yeah.
So over 1,000. That's the answer.
Yep.
Chad says, would machining the snout on a Gen 1 VMP to allow a 69 or smaller, will the snout allow this without failure or premature heat on the bearing due to the thin snout?
It will allow it.
Andrew says, if you had to choose, which would you pick from an 18 automatic or an 18 6-speed and why?
18 auto.
If you're drag racing, 18 auto. If you
Road course.
road course or daily the car,
Manual's pretty fun.
manual's fun. 373. Now these cars have a different transmission. I think they need a 410 or 430 to really get going. But 373 performance package car, manual, fun. Drag racing for the non-NDMFs out there, and the A10 is perfect.
Randall says, I have a 13 Boss and am considering changing cams to the 5.2 Illuminator cams for my engine. Have you two seen these cams used? Any input is welcome. I have found no info on this combo.
No info.
You will not find info on that combo. I haven't heard of anyone doing that yet.
Nope.
Instead of picking a cam that was designed for another engine, I'd pick either a custom grind cam specifically set up for your combination, or just a set of comp off-the-shelf blower cams, or get with Michael at L&M and spec something out.
Einar again. I see always drives is Mustang with the skinnies on the front on public roads. Is that a Florida thing or something? Does not understeer like crazy or what?
No.
Doesn't really understeer like crazy. Now, if you want to go referencing Michael Schumacher from something someone said earlier, if you want a Michael Schumacher into corners at 60 miles an hour while trying to go 90 degrees, you might have an issue. But driving like a normal sane person, driving their Camry to work, you're fine.
I have skinnies, no front sway bar, no issues. I drive it every day, not a problem.
Texas says, what's your opinion on Kennyville on the Coyote? Have you tuned many of them?
They tuned them.
Yeah.
They work just fine. So have fun.
That's that.
Mm-hmm.
Cody says, 04 Cobra stock eaten, looking to move up to a Gen 3 once I get back.
Wow. Okay.
Stock long block will be running E85. Currently running a Dragon throttle body. Curious if you feel the juice would be worth the squeeze upgrading to the GT500 throttle body. Thank you.
Since I'm not familiar
Yeah,
with any of them.
we don't make the Dragon inlet for the Cobra blowers anymore. I don't think we even have any left in stock. So I would say that'd really be your only option, unless you wanted to go to a stock throttle body inlet, which I don't recommend if you're trying to make a lot of power.
Nick says, is the 10-speed auto using ignition retard or cut for torque reduction? I've heard it on the GM 8-speed and it sounds cool.
Both.
Using both.
Joe says, do you guys support any of the Transverse Echo Boosts?
Any of the transfers?
Transverse.
I know what he's talking about, but no. Yeah, it's the transit van EcoBoost
Oh,
stuff.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Danielle wants to know, or Daniel wants to know, what is data logging?
How do I data log?
Google that.
Yeah, we have go in the VMP garage. We have
I think we actually
how to
have
data
some.
log thing.
There's a data logging tutorial. There's a bunch of links.
A couple videos in there.
Yeah, if you Google it, YouTube it.
But if you
tell what that is.
don't know what data logging is, you probably don't need to do it. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Don't mean to sound crass, but
Yeah,
you know.
it just trying to save you time.
Right.
All right. Shannon says, an 1117 Mustang GT versus an 0304 Cobra.
What about it?
They want to know what your opinion is.
I'm a Coyote guy.
Yeah.
Cobras are great, but
Cobra will hold its value a lot better. It's about the only advantage to the Cobra.
that's it. Cobra guys are logging on. What did he say? It's not better.
A stock Coyote will gap a stock Cobra.
Yeah, but don't tell the Cobra guys that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love the roundy round cars.
Yeah, you can
They're
hear them in the
going-
background.
they're
We're
going
right by
nuts today.
New Smyrna Speedway,
Yep.
and they're having some
It's
kind
like
of heat race.
Daytona Speed Week, so they're all going around the track. Wee.
Joe came back and he said, just to clarify, he meant the front wheel drive base Echo Boost like the Taurus, SHO, Flex, Lincoln, MKs.
Nope.
etc.
Nope. Hell to the no.
No. To the no,
Aye.
no, no. Hail to the no.
Uh,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Texas says, what about the PMAS? I hear a lot of people saying IATs are higher with it versus like the Steeda or JLT. Been hearing good things about the Steeda. Is the PMAS still the best overall?
They're all great.
They're all great.
Yeah.
Good signal. Something that's made out of metal might have higher ITs at idle, sitting at a light, more so than something that's made out of plastic. It's not that hard to understand. But they all do well. PMAS, JLT, Steeda, we tune all of them.
And I wouldn't be too concerned about your IATs at idle sitting in a traffic light.
But timing is being pulled at idle.
Yeah. What is it when you're doing an 80 mile an hour roll with your 400 horsepower car? What's your IAT then?
That's your IAT. That's the IAT you measure. When you're 60 down and you look at ambient versus IAT, that's what
And
matters.
not 3 seconds after you get to 60 after you leave the light.
Right.
Sustain 60 miles an hour for a minute or two.
Right.
Then look at IAT.
Right.
And even then it doesn't really matter on an NA car.
Flow outweighs temperature up to a certain point.
Yep.
Hold on. They're like cranking in now. Cranking in.
What's that timestamp at?
No, you
We got
still
stuff
got
we gotta
time.
do.
Sorry, you still got time.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They're not saying anything that makes me believe that we're getting close to an hour.
Oh, they're
Cars out there
saying
waiting.
stuff. You just don't want to know what they're saying. Let's see here. Cobra says, will there be a 173 throttle body available for the Gen 3 for the 0304?
No.
No.
Nope. It's drive-by-wire versus cable. Nope.
Yep.
Patrick says, what do you guys think of the new 10R80?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's sweet.
I love these short answers. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Next question.
It's pretty pathetic.
Makes it real easy. I like it a lot
I
more.
know, but usually I'm like, Okay, guys.
Oh,
that's
just because
enough.
we're overloading you doesn't mean we're not having fun.
Yeah, we're having fun. This is great.
Rapid fire.
Phil says, I'm trying to learn more about the S550 transmissions. How capable is 6R80 before needing mods to it? You guys and gals are great. Thanks, Bill, for including me.
1,000 horsepower depending on your tuner.
Yeah, I've seen them go at stock. I've seen them go at 600. I've seen them last at 1,000 crank.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on who's manipulating their shift pressures and applying the clutches a certain way. So,
Yeah.
we
I haven't seen many people mess up though. Like a
Well,
bolt-on car. It's
no.
mainly like the 800 horsepower cars that you start seeing.
issues with.
Yeah.
Steven says, I have an 18 Mustang GT Performance Package, 10 speed. Want to put cold air intake. Do you prefer Roush or JLT with a tune? Any performance difference between the two?
No and no.
We don't have a preference. We tune everything, and they perform similar.
Yep.
Wayne says, any idea on when we'll have the fuel tank drain for Coyote we mentioned last week?
We're testing a prototype in-house, I believe, later on this week.
Excellent. I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yep.
Michael says, hey guys, 2015 Roush Stage 3, 767 package, JLT, C, cold air, 4 return fuel system, E85, chasing more power. Looking at my next mod, headers or cam, best bang for my buck.
Cams.
Cams.
Dream Big Studio says, is it worth it to tune a stock Boss 302?
Yes.
Yes.
Always.
As long as you want to use 93 or some decent quality 91.
If you buy a stock Boss 302 and you're putting 91 or 89,
89.
Walmart fuel of it, you got other problems.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
Christopher says, 17 GTPP cold air kit
Mm-hmm.
that is open at top. Do the hood vents let water in on the filter? Thanks.
17 GTPP. So is he talking about like the Performance Pack 2?
17? No, there's no Performance Pack 2 in 17, is there?
The Ford Racing Performance Kit.
Got
The
it.
Ford Performance Kit.
I don't know. It's not shielded. Or it's
The
not.
last time I looked at a naturally aspirated cold air, it was a JLT, and I looked through the hood vent, and just barely the tip of the filter was like poking out in the area of bad. But I don't think that would have caused an issue. But if he's talking about the PP2 kit, it's probably as a GT350 cold air.
And that's sealed nicely and it's deep. But I don't know if the vents will get in there.
Yeah.
Although the vents will allow water to get in there. We haven't tried it. We haven't like tested that. I think I did a video way back in the day of like how to prevent that. But I mean, there's it's designed for the certain vehicle. So if there's hood vents on a 350, is it 350? No, it doesn't have
No,
hood vents.
it has that like the scoop in the back, kind of like 9901 Cobra.
Oh yeah, we have one outside. I forgot about that. But yeah, it can. So I would try to don't put any aftermarket vents that allow more air to get out of the engine bay because it'll allow water to get in.
If you have a Tiger Racing hood, you probably have a bad time with an
Guaranteed.
open cold
You're
air in
gonna
the
have
rain.
everything wet in there.
But yeah.
But yeah, okay. On to the next one. So we've answered this next question numerous times from the standpoint it's been in almost every episode, I think, at this point of Tuning Tuesday, and it was in Burnout Box the last couple weeks.
So what's the question?
So the question is, when is the 2650 coming for the 0304 Cobras?
No.
We don't have an answer.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing yet.
It's not a physical object yet.
It's
It
not
is
a thing.
a three-dimensional CAD drawing that is in the process of being made.
And if waiting is going to sway your decision, I don't know what to tell you, but we don't have it in-house yet. So you'll have it when you have it, unfortunately. It's that good. Trust us.
INR, I
That's
feel
3
bad.
questions.
I really wish I know. We get several people that when they come in during the week, they keep asking questions. So why are almost all aftermarket catback exhaust 3 inches? Isn't a double 3-inch even an overkill for a blown motor?
No.
Does the extra half-inch matter that much for sound? Most
Yes.
of these systems are too loud anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
You own a Mustang and you're complaining about something being too loud, you might not want to get a Mustang. You might want to drive a Prius.
Or just leave the stock cap back
Yeah,
on.
I have the stock cap back on my car, and it is what, two
2.5, next down to I think 2.25 in some regions.
Yeah, I don't see it being a restriction. It kind of sounds on the tinny side, but it's loud
We've run
enough.
it without exhaust, and I don't think we picked up any power.
We did. We literally removed the exhaust and didn't pick up a ton, but it isn't too big. 3 inches isn't too big. And if you think the exhaust is too loud, there are things like Corsa Sport, Borla Touring, tamed exhaust, even with long tubes and no cats, that sound pretty darn good and kind of hard to beat. The American Racing System sounds really good too. I would just stay away from anything called extreme attack, blah, loud.
If it's available and aluminized, you probably don't want it.
Right. Drone City.
Texas says, love the video about cheap parts on Coyotes. Have you dealt with Texas Speed Headers? Opinions on the brand over like Stainless Works or American Racing?
Haven't put them on, but we've tuned them. They're fine. They do the exact same thing. I don't know quality-wise over a period of time what they'll do.
Yeah.
But,
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. To be continued.
Tyler says, have an 07 GT500 and getting ready for a 2.3 TVS. Is there any major upside to a Gen 2R versus, say, a ported 13-14 takeoff?
That question was asked last week. I saw it in the list.
Ported versus a ported Trinity over a Gen 2R.
Gen 2R still makes more power.
Yeah. And you'll get arguments back and forth, but I'm sure you're getting arguments from people who do that kind of work. So, and we offer the Gen 2R, so take that information as you will.
Trinity, no warranty. Gen 2R, you get a warranty. Have fun.
Ta-da.
Death Star says,
Death Star. You heard that song earlier. That was great.
Death Star OG. So anyway, he says, gap spec on plugs for boosted Roush Phase 2, NGK plugs.
28 to 30.
Yeah. If he's talking about the
Phase 2
IXs, it's a TR7 LIX, something like that. Yeah, so 28 to 30. LTR7IX, there we go. That's what it is.
It bugs you, like, I need to know.
Yeah.
Look,
Like,
AC kicked in, thank God.
oh,
It's
magical.
hot as hell in here.
He asked that already. John says, does a 120 map housing make that much more difference in tuning for power versus a 95 map housing?
Map housing?
Depending on, I think he's talking about math
It's all right,
housing.
it's all good.
The depends on what filter's on the end of it. You can have a really restrictive filter on the end of a 120 millimeter MAF housing, and have it be more of a restriction than a 90 millimeter housing with a better flowing filter.
Steven says, an 18 GT Performance Pack 10 speed, is there any performance gain by doing a resonator delete, or do you get better sound?
You get weight reduction. That's a performance gain.
Yep. And it sounds a little better, I would think. But they already sound good.
Yeah.
Alan says, is it worth to put a JLT CAI on a stock 10 3-valve?
Yeah, there's a gain with putting it on. Whether or not it's worth it's up to you. You're looking at probably $350-ish, I think, for those cold airs. And you'll need a tune, so add in another $300 to $400 for a device, another $200 for a tune. So
It's up to you whether you think it's worth it or not.
yeah, you'd probably be 30 horsepower between a tune and a cold air for roughly $900.
For a 3-valve, you can get that much?
Yeah, a 93. If it's 91, closer to 20, but.
Got it.
Einar says, are the GT500 motors without sleeves only coating like the 18 Coyote motor? If so, I guess the 18 block is not a question mark when making big power?
So is he asking if the blocks in 2018 are plasma coated or plasma coated?
I think so.
Well, we don't have a 2018. Oh, you mean like
I
a...
think he's asking if 18
Coyote?
5 liters plasma coated. I don't believe it's plasma coated.
I think it's just like a regular Coyote.
Yeah, I think so, but I'd have to confirm.
We'll pull ours apart and answer your question shortly.
Yeah. Maybe about 10 minutes. I'll drill through the sleeve to see if it's iron or if it's a steel insert.
Ahmed wants to know, what's the difference between E85 and C85?
Is it more
everything.
oxygenated?
It has more. It has less of the bloaty stuff that comes in a pump fuel. It's more science oriented and more consistent than a pump E85.
Now, in terms of power gain, I don't know if you're going to see a to B massive power gain, but you'll have a more consistent fuel.
Yeah, I'd say the primary advantage is the consistency in fuel quality and the composition of the fuel. Because even like station to station, if they're getting it from 2 separate distribution facilities, you'll have different mixes of like the gasoline and all the other detergents and stuff they put in the E85, which can change the stoic point slightly and change its ability to accept timing a little bit. But if it's as long as it's still an ethanol-based fuel, your timing isn't going to be changed too drastically as long as your ethanol content's up above 60%, right around the E60, E54 region.
I have 3 questions I'm going to take from YouTube, and then I'm going over to Facebook because you have a whole bunch on Facebook that we need to hit
Okay, well,
within the next.
we're limited on time, but go ahead.
That's why I said you still have 15 minutes.
We'll just get up and
Okay.
leave.
16 minutes, actually. I'm increasing that one. With that said, Nick says, I saw a Livernois built Coyote 5.0 that made 600 wheel horsepower on race gas NA.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 650 to 700 naturally aspirated is possible with a 5.2 block GT350 heads and newer technology?
Anything is possible, and
Anything's
unicorns
possible.
are involved.
Yeah, I mean, we in the 60s, guys were making 600 horse NA with like a 302 on road race cars.
Yeah, 16-to-1 compression,
Yeah.
all the head.
Yeah, all the head. Ew. But
dun.
anything is possible with money, technology, and compression and fuel. So, off-the-shelf parts, probably not.
Yeah.
You know.
Christopher says a 17 Coyote, 1 7/8 or 1 3/4 long tubes.
I thought he was going to ask rocker ratios. I'm like, oh god.
Looking at building NA car.
178.
Yeah.
Death Star says, last question, folks. What parts are needed to install 331 gears in a PP16 Mustang GT with 373 original gears?
Don't worry about changing the gears in the housing. Just buy a housing with the gears that you want.
Yeah. If you know someone that, he wants 373s or he wants, whatever.
The answer to the question
Just buy one that
is
has it in it.
buy a
already
housing
and put
that's
it
already
in.
set up.
It's like $400.
If that.
anywhere.
We paid less than that for
220.
Yeah,
230 or
for-
something. For the whole 315
Gene
housing.
Gray's rear housing.
I lied. I have a couple more questions on YouTube. Phil says, what is VMP's preferred tuning device for an S550 Mustang 5.0? Any pro cons between a Ford Pro Cal Tuner Rev X, N-Gauge, or SCT X4? Thanks.
They all deliver a tune. That is my answer.
Yes. We prefer SCT products.
EM2K20 says 160-degree thermostat, a good idea for a Roush supercharged car in South Carolina.
It's not a bad idea.
We sell 170 Rice thermostats here.
Yeah.
Chase says, my 17 GT doesn't pop and crackle on decel like my 14 did. Is this because of the firing order change?
Now,
There's no firing order change GT to GT.
Now, you got to understand, some people want it. We just had a guy said that he didn't like it, and now we have a guy that like it. You understand our dilemma now. You understand that we can't just make a basic tune for everyone because some want it to pop, some don't want it to pop.
I don't care.
I know.
I'm making
the
one
tune, and if it's a
done.
diesel pop, not my problem.
Yeah.
Just
You want
so
to send me $1,000? I'll work on it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm good.
We got to make a link.
Just drill a couple holes in your exhaust. It'll do
It'll
all the
pop.
D-cell popping.
It all depends on the exhaust setup too, I think. So
And if it doesn't pop enough, use a 3/8 bit instead of a 5/16.
EM2K20 just came back and told you guys that he loves the show, watches it every week.
thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. I hear your username or whatever come up a lot during the question, so
And
appreciate
Justin Stevens,
the
couple of,
follow, the shares, the subscribe.
Dorian's like a loyal subscriber.
Yeah.
Dorian's like on Tuning Thursday.
Yeah.
Tech Thursday, and on our show. So yeah,
Tech Thursday.
whatever it is.
Yeah. The thing.
Burnout box.
Burnout
I'm
box.
terrible with names. Please.
Yeah, you can't even remember your own sometimes.
Okay.
No.
Live my life, and then you'll be like, oh my god.
What happened?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
What
in the
happened?
child.
Did you
That's
see the
it.
email, Alex?
What
I
happened?
got 3,000 yesterday.
Brian says, what's up with the Fairmont?
It's hanging out back there.
Fairmont apparently has a bar engine according to these guys, so we'll see how that looks. But it's good. We're getting more work done. Gonna drop a Coyote in it hopefully this month. We'll see.
Yeah. We're busy.
Cobra says, Cobra Bob says, will the Gen 3 work on a compound boost setup for the 0304 Cobra?
It sure will.
It'll work. It'll work. You want to do that? Sure.
Dorian came back with a big thumbs up, y'all.
Sweet.
Alex says, do sleeve supports really work for high horsepower?
They sure do.
I've seen people even fill that area in with like billet blocks and then machine it down and sleeve it for like insane support. I saw Brett Barber posted a picture of that. It's really cool. But yeah, they do work.
Avery's text says, is a 3-valve 4.6 any good for a daily driver? Want something cheap and, quote, reliable?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, great car. Put some cams in it, chop around, make 280 horse. Badass.
Ryan says 17 GT Roush Phase 2 on 93 octane. How much power would be gained by a custom VMP tune and PMAS? Thanks in advance.
It depends on how happy the car currently is on timing.
I've seen Roush cars dyno 630, manual.
Yeah, I've seen a dyno 630 before, but I've also seen manual cars dyno 580.
Right.
A
So with the
lot of it depends on the fuel quality, the conditions the car was dynoed in, and what dyno it was on. So
And the parasitic multiplier.
yeah, if you're on a Mustang dyno.
Inside joke.
Yeah, but it'll be good gains. Specifically, what your gains are going to be are tough to say because I'm not a I'm not a fortune teller.
Right.
But expect anywhere from 10 to 50 horsepower.
It's a broad range, we get it, but fuel quality, where it's being tested, and how happy the car is in general.
What the
have a lot to
ACT
do.
is when it's being tested.
Everything.
I get data logs back, and my car only picked up 10 horsepower. Well, the data log you sent me on the stock file was at 100-degree ACT. The data log you sent me on our tune file was at 150. So
What do you do?
cool the car off, try again. Oh, it made 60 more horsepower.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Mind blowing.
So weird.
Exactly.
Emil says, how does blocking or locking the IMRC affect the 15+ Coyotes?
It affects the tune a lot. It doesn't affect power a whole lot.
Right. Basically, you're like making it like a boss intake. I like the IMRC. Just leave it alone if it's in there. But now you're going to have to retune the vehicle and completely change things. So it's up to you if you want to leave it open. But it's not a 3-valve anymore, where the CMRC deletes were like a big thing.
They fold away flush with the port, so
Right,
they don't really hurt power at all. And all right, so you locked them, folded away. All right, so you did the same exact thing the tune does when you go watt anyway.
Exactly. But I want watt all the time. I want watt airflow all the
So,
time.
my God.
Yeah.
Shamblin says, can you describe the difference between torque and horsepower and why you always favorite Coyote over Trinity engines while the torque number is way different?
Oh man.
Something for another day. That's a conversation that can be long and drawn out. Simply, torque gets it moving. Horsepower is
Keeps it going.
is a calculation of the rate of acceleration over a period of time. So, I mean, they're kind of the same thing, except I should say the relationship is directly proportional, in a way.
You just lost like half of the people because they're like,
I
what?
don't know. Directly.
You can
they
Google
should,
that.
That's
You
like
can
sixth
Google
grade words. I can't lose people on sixth grade words.
You'd be surprised.
I shouldn't. You shouldn't be watching if you don't understand sixth grade words.
You know what? You just gained users. So Juan says, how do S550s do in the snow?
They actually have a snow mode.
They have a snow mode, believe it or not. So
Well, if your tires are bald, you're gonna do a wee.
I'm a Northeast guy. Get a set of Blizzaks, put them on, okay, and the car should put some weight in the back, a couple of 50-pound sandbags or something like that. I never got stuck with an S197.
A trunk full of babies.
Trunk full of, yeah, exactly. Just about 150, 200 pounds in the back, some Blizzaks all the way around. Won't have many issues.
Trenton says, do you guys have any tips for avoiding a failed uncompleted flash with HP tuners or SCT devices? Any advice for if you find yourself in your situation?
If you find yourself in that situation, disconnect the battery for about 2 minutes, reconnect it, reflash.
Typically, if you have a battery tender or some kind of way of keeping voltage to the battery while the flash is happening, that's a good idea also to prevent that from happening. But if it already happened, like he said, disconnect, reconnect, then put a battery tender on it and try flashing again. It'll make it go to stock. HP tuner is a thing you can just flash again, but SCT will make you go to stock to make sure it recovers properly and then reattempt the flash.
For time's sake, right now I'm not going to take any more questions from YouTube. I'm just letting our users know. Right now I'm just taking questions from Facebook because we have quite a large queue. Joseph says, hey Alex, you think E85 tune will increase my miles per gallon? I'm really trying to save gas in this thing, and can I put E15 too? Thanks.
No.
See, I'm glad he feels the same way about that question as I do.
You get way less miles per gallon on E85. If you're getting E85 for this, it's got to be a joke question, but just for the sake of argument.
Or if you want to go dollars per mile.
Dollars per mile.
E85 may balance out.
Exactly. You can spend less per week with the 85, depending on how you drive, than you do with pump gas, potentially.
But your gas mileage is going to go down by at least 27% on an actual 85% ethanol content fuel.
Charlie says, I have a 17 Coyote. Is it me or do all Coyotes have a random tick or slight misfire at idle? More prominent on louder mufflers like a Delete or Atticus?
I don't know. It's all good.
Your air compressor makes noise.
Yeah. It does make like a slight, like a lot of people hear, like, it's like la 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 la. That's totally normal. The cams are on the heavy side. VCT is doing what it needs to do.
No, my engine blew up.
Oh, it's junk. It's supposed to go like a Cadillac.
I gotta go to Ford.
Yeah.
It's not a sewing machine.
Right, exactly. The car will absolutely have a slight, like a hiccup once in a while, and you'll only hear it when you have better exhaust. Long tubes, everything. You'll start to hear everything that's happening in the engine, and you're gonna think it's the tune, but trust me, it does it in stock form.
Andrew says, true. I have a stock 03 Cobra and can only stay on the back bumper of the new Coyote motors.
Yeah.
Juan says, is it possible to daily drive a slightly... We already answered this.
They're double dipping.
I know, they like to double dip sometimes.
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Sorry.
I killed Carrie. She's dead.
MK says, I got the car used, but I won't know what cams it has. Tuners in my area suck tuning it. What do I do?
Pull it apart. See what cams it has.
There you go. Get froggy. Start pulling stuff.
All you got to do is pull one cam cover.
And look down.
Yeah.
What's what, like 12 bolts? It's a lot of bolts. Pull the coils out, cam covers. You'll be able to see at least some kind of serial number, and it'll give you a better idea.
Yep.
Daniel says, I have a 5.4 2-valve swap on my 98 GT. Would E85 be a good idea? The engine is stock and had to use the adapter plates for the intake.
Depends on what fuel you're putting in it currently and how close that fuel is to MBT.
Based on the tables. Yeah,
Based on how it's being tuned and all that stuff. So whether or not it's worth it's kind of up in the air. I wouldn't anticipate more than 10 or 20 horsepower unless your tuner is getting ridiculously aggressive.
Chris says, been told there's no difference in crank between 11 to 17 and Boss crank. Is this true?
The cranks on 11 to 14 are different than 15 to 17. They're different. Boss crank is more...
The balance is different on the crank.
Exactly. Like if you were to do a rods and pistons deal, Joe would suggest like a 15 and up crank as opposed to 11 to 14. And throw
Or
some
a
rods
Boss
and pistons
crank.
Or a Boss crank.
Yep,
Right,
yep.
those are more so Boss and 15 and up are more similar than 11 to 14.
The rotating mass is closer.
Copy, paste, Control C, Control V, Notepad.
Forgive me.
delete.
You
It's all
come
good.
do my job for a day.
Okay. No, we'll trade jobs, no problem.
I didn't say trade. I just said come do this. Cody says, why does my 1450 shift from 4th to 5th using a select shift without giving it input to do so? By the way, car is tuned by VMP.
What year?
14.
Yeah, there's a hidden. If you're at wide open throttle, 4th gear, you're probably going 170. Okay, with 315 gear. I don't know why you're doing that, but whatever. It does go to 4.5 without you commanding it. There is some hidden OSS stuff that we got to kind of play with, but 0.005% of people are going 170 and need the 4.5 shift to happen at 7,000 RPMs. So I'm not really that concerned with it, unless you have like 410 gears and you got the wrong gear in the car. If you have 410s on an auto S197 or Coyote car.
Sounds like Grant's car.
Ian
Must
says,
be in the garage.
have you seen any mechanical issues with the new 5.0?
Not really.
Not yet. It's too early. Remember when the 11s came out, number 8 started going about a year after. So we don't know if there's anything apparent with these cars yet. It's too early. Looks pretty stout though. I can't imagine.
Brian says, is a 2650 going to require you to shave the block still?
No, shave the block. Oh,
On a 15 up. We'll see.
yeah, we don't know yet.
I don't believe so though, but again, we'll see.
Ian says, do you think the 18 twin disc clutch and flywheel might fit the old Coyotes?
I heard it does, but I cannot confirm because I didn't physically rip apart one from a new Mustang and put it in an old Mustang. That's just not something people would do.
I'd say buy an aftermarket clutch.
Going back to sizes on tubes and what have you, Mark says a 1/2 inch always matters.
Giggity.
Dun-dun-dun.
Bum,
She
bum.
really wanted to read that. She didn't have to read that. She
Didn't
really
have
wanted
to,
read that.
but
Because the half-inch matters.
Like,
That's why she wanted to
I
read
don't
it.
know. I was like, okay, that didn't have to happen.
so in some cases, size does matter.
Yeah.
On exhaust, yeah, all the time.
5
Exactly.
centimeters right there.
Andrew
bigger than 5
says,
I was wondering why my belly was warm. These are like super warm right here. Go ahead.
Andrew says NGK TR6 gap size for 03 Cobra on 12 pounds of boost.
12 pounds, you could be as high as 32. Within reason, it's better to be smaller than bigger when you're talking about spark plug gas.
I threw that in there.
Slowpoke says, will the Gen 3 upper fit the Gen 2 or Roush base?
Yes. Yes.
Cobra Bob, will the Gen 3 Vamp work in a compound boost setup for 0304 Cobra?
Yeah,
we
he
answered
asked that on
yes.
YouTube.
Gotcha. I know they're double dipping.
Mm-hmm.
And Juan sends his in again. Let's see here. Joe says, I can confirm the Gen 3 Coyote has plasma coated cylinder walls.
Cool.
No more iron liners.
Cool.
MK says, we only have E70 here. Is it okay to run an E85 tune?
It'll be rich. No, sorry. Yeah, it'll be on the rich side.
Yeah.
If you do run it, it'll be, I don't know, 10%, 12% rich on that side. So
If that, I'd say closer to like 8. But yeah, yeah, it's fine.
Patrick says, do you guys tune 6.7 turbo diesel engines?
sure don't.
Nope.
Alex says, does the MMR block brace affect knock sensor readings?
I am not familiar with the MMR block brace. Unless you're talking about the one that goes from knock sensor to knock sensor. And if you are talking about that one, I'll leave it at that.
Ahmed says, hi, Alex is my tuner, and my question is, can a tuned Mustang V6 win against Q60 Infinity? Sorry, didn't hear the answer, thanks.
Probably not. Depending on Q60s are pretty.
Q60s.
Under 400 horsepower.
I don't think so, because a Q60.
Q50 is a 3.7. I thought, but we don't
I
know
think
much
the
about Infinity.
Q60 is a 3.7.
Oh, then you should beat it. A tuned V6 though. God damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Race them, see what happens.
Yeah,
Just don't
exactly.
race them for money.
And then let us know.
Yeah, exactly.
Report back.
Yeah, report back.
Just don't race them for money
Vids are
because we don't know, right?
Dwayne says, porting stock manifold and throttle body worth doing. Any gains?
There's gains. It all depends on what you think the cost versus the gains are. I've seen them gain some. I personally have not ever run or ported anything. I go right from stock stuff to aftermarket stuff like a Boss or a Cobra Jet or a blower. So you're trying to nickel and dime everything out of the stock stuff. Just get aftermarket stuff and just throw it in there. Porting works. I get it. There are people that port and hate that I am not pro porting. I'm not against porting. I just think there's better ways of spending your money.
Mm-hmm.
Gary says, how long before E85 fuel eats away your cylinder heads, pistons, and fuel pumps? Is it years and years
Never.
or quite fast acting?
It's 80 miles.
80. Like
80.
so
That
when
is when it's going to happen.
you're driving and it just rusts and
Yeah.
the car stops and it seizes everything and it's over.
And that's why Ford recommends using it.
Right. That's why Ford has it on flex fuel vehicles. They like flex fuel S150s. They allow you to put 85 in it because it will rust immediately.
Yeah.
My
You're
Explorer.
fine. Don't worry about it.
You have a flex fuel
I have a
Explorer,
flex fuel
right.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yep. Corrosion.
Corrosion Nation.
You just fill up with some
People
corrosion
are
here.
laughing like crazy right now on Facebook. They're just going nuts. Joey says, what's your thoughts on a flex tune? I know some tuners support going from 93 to E85 or vice versa without draining tank. Any issues with this?
There's not any issues with that.
No issues. We just don't do it.
Yeah.
But there's no issues with it.
Emil says, have you guys done testing on S550s with 2018 manifolds?
No.
We've
Well-
done one tune for one. I haven't gotten data logs back yet.
Everyone tells me it's similar to GT350 except it has a little more up top. So once he gets data logs back and shove it on the dyno, we'll
Although,
get-
hey, I may have data logs sitting in there waiting for me right now.
That'd be great.
But
But we're here doing this.
I am very deep in R&D and emphasis on the D.
Hey, we haven't physically taken one off and put it on a car yet. We just don't have that, but we send
We have an
tunes out for
18
them.
manifold though.
We do, but we have to find a stock 15 guy to put it on, take the time.
We have the NFG car outside we could do that with.
That's true. Oh gosh. And then you can lock those deals out. And
We
that's
haven't-
when you can lock them out on an 11 to 14 car.
We actually have a contest right now on naming that car. So
Okay.
it's out there on YouTube and Instagram. So,
Right.
I mean, on Facebook and Instagram. So if you guys scroll down the page and go
Do you have
there.
options? Do you have like, or do you let people just...
We're letting people randomly
Oh,
send us
man, It would
names.
have been nice to have a poll.
Yeah,
like
well,
3.
we're letting people send in their names. So send in your names, and that way we can pick which we like best.
Cool.
Um,
It'll be Ginger, by the way, but go ahead.
I don't know. There's a couple there. There's one that's like fire crotch.
No. Yeah, Ginger, yes.
Seriously, I
Yes.
think there's like
Still a ginger.
couple.
Still a Ginger.
There are a couple gingers in there.
Soul
actually.
stealer.
Or something of that. Sorry, I'm getting messages from fellow coworkers. Jimmy says we're running out of time, so I want to get these last couple questions from YouTube.
Cool.
And anything that we don't get on Facebook, you can hit later.
Dude.
Yeah.
Um,
Like,
time.
share, subscribe.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I was going to say. We have 15 shares.
Hammer
right now
that
I
button.
see.
Yeah.
Bam.
And Jimmy says, do you think a 15 GT Auto supercharged with 355 gears will go through the traps in 4th gear, or will I need 331s?
Depends on what your trap speed is.
Right. Anything over 130, it'll tap fourth right before the end.
Street driven GT500, can I switch from a 2.4 pulley to a larger 2.8 on my blower without changing the tune? On my, looks like it's on a 2012 GT500 2.3 VMP
Yes.
TBS.
Yeah.
As long as your tuner knows what they're doing. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see here. Carbon fiber drive shaft or aluminum on GT500, which is better for drag racing?
Stock GT500s have a carbon fiber drive shafts.
13, 14s too.
So,
Aluminum's fine too though.
yep.
The if you're gonna remove your drive shaft and throw it on the ground, then put it back in the car. Don't put a carbon fiber in it.
Right.
The aluminum's better.
Yep.
But if you're just drag racing, either one works
I've
fine.
seen carbon fiber drive shafts. Sheldon Lewis's cars all have carbon fiber drive shafts. I haven't seen a failure in his cars yet, public. And his cars are 7-second, low 8-second cars.
And I've seen-
Said that we tune the car.
Oh,
Which one?
then I got to send
drive
the
shaft?
aluminum drive shaft revision. Aluminum? Wait, let me just redo the tune.
I know of a certain 1100 horsepower car that's on a stock 13, 14 carbon fiber drive shaft.
Yep. Grant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ahmed says, is the oil pump on the 18 Coyote better than the 15 to 17 Coyote?
No. What? The oil pump itself?
So yeah.
18 F-150 uses a composite pickup tube, but I don't know.
We don't know.
It works just fine.
Yeah. No idea. How do you test that? Why do you care? No offense. Why do you care? It
Uh,
works.
Man.
Jose says, which motor do you think will make more horsepower and run the quarter mile faster? Both with VMP superchargers, an 0709 GT500 or Boss 302?
Boss 302.
The engine's lighter.
And Alex,
And usually boss guys tend to drive a little better than GT500 guys. Hey,
Twisting the knife. GT500 guy is gonna come through the wall and right in the kidney.
GT500 takes his GT500 hat off. What's he saying? We love you. Relax.
Yeah.
Andrew says we should name the car Redheaded Stepchild.
That's too long. That's a sentence.
That's way too long.
Redheaded stepchild.
I agree.
Then redheaded stepchildren are going to sue you, and that's going to be a problem. So we can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Alex says, you can do the manifold of 18 GT on my 15 GT and I will pay you for a custom tune.
You could pay for the labor to do it too.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I feel like people think
and-
that we have a stake in that. Like it benefits us that the 18 manifold
We're
works
going to
better.
be so good to offer
John
you
Lund-
my car. Wait. We're going to offer you my car so that you can do stuff for free, and I can
'Cause-
get stuff for free, and I
Because
pay
we
you for.
don't have an 11 Mustang, an 18 Mustang, a 15 Mustang. It's like we
We have
don't
these cars. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have no stake in this really. So it's,
John Lund came back and said that Redheaded Stepchild is offensive.
see, you know
See?
why? He has
See?
3 redheaded children, and
But they're
he
not
has-
Wait, wait, wait.
stepchildren.
But they're not stepchildren.
Yeah.
I'm kind of redhead too, so you know,
I have a red beard
It
that
is
makes me
offensive.
like honorary redhead.
that makes you honorary.
What? Why the hell do you see red?
You gotta,
Get out of here.
It's in the sunlight on an equinox on an April. It has to be like April
I
1st.
see absolutely no red, yes, in his dreams.
See, John Lund's going to sue you now. He's going to serve a letter. Can't name it that.
Someone says no soul ginger.
No.
Submit it all in the form,
Needs to
guys.
be
I meant
You
ginger
want a
like
name?
from.
I know, they need to submit it through the
I
form.
don't mean ginger like a person that's a ginger, like from Gilligan's Island.
From Gilligan's Island,
Yeah.
ginger. It is a
God.
person, but
I'm not thinking
yeah.
like a ginger, like a kid, And there's a difference between gingers and redheads.
Is there an
Total
Aussie
difference.
name for ginger? Is it like Ginge?
Ginger
Okay.
ninja.
The ginger
That'll
ninja.
work.
Ninja is in Australian, Olympian.
John says ginger's for the win.
Or orang.
I'm going to say thank you, John.
Orang?
Orang.
Okay.
Orangutan.
Oh.
Oh, I see what.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
This is USA. We can't be doing that. Yeah.
And then Dale comes on and says, when is National Kick a Ginger Day?
Oh.
Hey.
Hey. Oh.
Oh. Shots fired.
I know, right? I take offense to that. Let's see what else we have. I think we are going to do one more, and I'm going to let you guys go because it's 2:38.
Yes. Cars to tune on.
1738.
Hey.
Abdulaziz.
Abdulaziz. I think I tune him.
Yes. Okay. TTS 550, 1,000 wheel horsepower with Magnum XL, first gear, 266. Do you recommend going 410 rear
410 or 430.
or stay 355 for quarter mile?
I
410.
know it's a 1,000 horsepower turbo car.
410.
Okay.
Because if you have a 1,000 horsepower turbo car, you're going to go through the traps above 71, 7,200. Right? You're going to be doing 150.
On a 28-inch tire?
Yeah, and it'll grow.
There's the 27.
I don't know what he's got for a
Is
tire.
it a stiff wall or?
Right, that's the problem. You got to know a lot about the.
That and you got to know what the car actually traps.
373.
If it's a 1,000 horsepower car that traps 133.
Yeah, you've seen those. Yeah, you're like, 430. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you could 373 or 410. I think you should be good. That 266 first gear being so low, you got to get out of the hole, and you need that mechanical advantage. So I would go 410 with a 28-inch tall slick right out. And I think that's it because
I think if you could leave on boost, you could run a taller gear.
you could because you have to make so much torque
Like,
and you can ramp it in.
Like launching on a two-step clutch drop at like 4 or 5K. I think you'd be fine on like a 373.
373, I wouldn't do a 355
But
though.
the bigger question is, what is your trap speed? What is your tire size? And
Weight.
what gear do you want to go through the traps in?
Right, and what vehicle weight is. We need to know all that.
There's a
stuff.
few good calculators for that out there, but
Wallace Racing is still pretty legit.
yeah, I made a couple spreadsheets with stuff like that, but
Cool,
yeah.
very good.
Like, share,
And-
subscribe.
With that said, we're going to call it a day.
Thank you. Sorry we had to condense it, guys, but we got to get to R&Ding. There's only 2 of us here. We got to crank away at this Gen 3 stuff so we can get it to you faster. So that's why we're
Yeah.
doing this.
And if you want Joe to go through and follow up on your comments and questions on Facebook that are outstanding,
balls.
you know what to do.
That's pretty good.
They're furry
Share.
balls.
Yeah.
Should we give them a magic number?
4?
45
right
shares.
Right now I see 15 shares.
We
45 shares, and I'll go through it within the next week. If it's anything less than that, I'll wait a month.
That'll work.
Because that's probably how long I'll be busy.
Exactly.
And I'll still be busy when I check it.
Yeah, because now it's the busy season. Spring's coming. People are going to be...
Tax returns coming in.
Forget it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy time, so we're going to do our best to get you stuff done, info, tuning, support, this.
Yeah,
But
I'm not
Right.
even going to look at the Tuning Tuesday thing unless it's 45 shares.
Yep,
I'll have-
exactly.
I'll have Carrie come tell me when it gets to 45, and then I'll look at it.
Exactly.
Ryan came back and let us know that Chucky was a redhead.
Damn right he was.
Chucky's a good name for the car.
Oh.
Chucky's a good name.
Yeah, he's got scratches on his face.
See?
Yeah.
Right.
This
It's
is
jacked
good.
up.
Definitely put that on the forum
Chucky's
if you
It's got
guys
the
like
hail.
that.
It's got the hail damage on top.
Chucky's good.
He's got a wife, Chucky's bride. No? Well, no, the GT500.
No, come on, man. They're not related.
The brothers from another mother.
Man, come on, get out of here. All right, guys. Thank you
All
for
right.
watching. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Okay, you can have your balls back.